Can someone tell me the three parts that make up the first line of defense?
The
The
skin,
skin, breathing passages, mouth, and
Very good. Skin, breathing passages, and the third one is mouth and stomach. Now, the skin has how many mechanisms of defense? The skin. Go back to the hand picture.
2.
It has two. Very good. No, it doesn't have two. The skin doesn't have two. It has more.
it has 4.
It has four. Very good. Let's see, Carolina, what is the first mechanism of defense that we find in the skin?
Oil,
Very good. We have oil. In what parts do we find oil? We find in two parts. What are those two parts? Where can we find? Oh, no. Yeah, oil in what? Chemical oil in sweats. Very good. We also find oil or chemical oil in?
Dead cells.
No.
dead
Oil,
skin falls off.
chemical oil, chemicals in?
Oil and sweat.
Very good. Yeah, we got oil and sweat. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got a little bit confused. Oil and sweat. What is the other one? The third one?
Dead skin falls.
Very good. So our dead skin is going to fall off, and with it, it's going to carry some pathogens. What about the last form? Other form?
Blood,
Mechanism. Very good. So we got an open wound. Blood clots are going to form, so they trap the bacteria and they get rid of them. Now let's go for the breathing passages. What do we find in the breathing passages, like the nose or the trachea or the bronchi?
I know, Miss.
Let's see, Ceci. Hair.
Defend you from many pathogens you inhale.
Yeah, we got hair. We also got mucus. And what else do we find? Cilia. Very good. So these three things are going to trap the pathogen and get rid of it. Now, in the mouth, what's in the mouth that kills the pathogen?
saliva,
Saliva. But what is in the saliva?
chemical,
Chemicals. Very good.
Chemicals.
Contains destructive chemicals.
Destructive chemicals. And what about the stomach? What does it produce to kill the
That's
pathogens?
acid.
Acid. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so now let's go for the second line of defense. Now, in here, something is triggered. How do we call that thing that is triggered?
inflammatory response,
Very good, Carolina. Kids, if you don't have this, please write it down or underline or do something. The inflammatory response. Now, the inflammatory response is made up of two. Thank you, Carolina. The inflammatory response is made up of two mechanisms. What's the first one?
Inflammatory response and immune
Fever.
response.
Inflammation. Thank you, Sophia. Number one is inflammation, and number two, it's fever. Let's go for fever. Now, how many steps does inflammation have? How do we get one part of our body to be, swollen, hinchado? It's a process, okay? It's not that easy.
The
capillaries,
Capillaries.
Get
Okay.
white.
Yeah, let's go to my horrible drawings, okay? I'm sorry about this. So we have this. We said that we have an open wound with a knife. The knife brought bacteria to the tissues. This is the tissue. This is our skin. And this is the capillaries. In the capillaries, white blood cells like phagocytes that fight the disease are gonna be there. But look at here, the size of the capillary is very small, so a few amount of phagocytes can get in. So what's the first step for inflammation?
capillaries widen,
Very good. The capillaries are gonna widen so more phagocytes can come in, fight the disease. Now, what is the second step after the phagocytes are in the bloodstream?
fluid and phagocytes leak out.
Very good. So that is the work. It's leak out. They're going to move from the blood vessel into the tissue. Leak out. Now, what is the third step? What happens to the area, to the affected area?
Becomes
Pathogen and destroy them.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Relax.
Thank you, Sophia. So third step is that the area becomes swollen and becomes red. Now the fourth step, now the phagocytes, I'm sorry for yelling, kids. I'm sorry for yelling if I'm speaking too loud. The phagocytes are here, right? They're leaked out. So what do they do to the bacteria now? What's the first
Engulf
step?
the parasites and destroy them.
Very good. How do we call that word of covering the bacteria?
Engulf.
Engulf. Very good. So they're going to engulf or eat the bacteria, and then inside of them, they're going to destroy them. Now, what is the last step? Let's see, the bacteria, it's already eliminated. What is going to happen to our capillary?
It's gonna como hacerse delgadito otra vez.
Very good. It's going to go back to normal size. Thank you, kids. You guys are pretty smart. So, do we got homework? Tell me if we got homework. What's the homework?
Page
180 and 181.
Okay,
That's
100.
2 pages.
80, no. Only 181.
181. Okay,
Solo
so,
181.
Okay, so 181, we're gonna leave it till the end. Okay, let's go to 183. We're gonna go for the third line of defense. So in your notebook,
May I
please-
read, mister?
Sure, but let's just, sure, just give me some moment, okay? So let's go for the third line of defense. And it is right here. So I want you guys to please write this. So let's say that some pathogens could escape the first line of defense, the second line of defense, and now they're killing our white blood cells. So these white blood cells are going to release some chemical that are going to tell another white blood cells to come and fight. So here in the third line of defense, immune response is triggered. The immune response is triggered. And now we're going to have other type of white blood cells that are going to distinguish between different kinds of pathogens. This P is for pathogens. Now, if you guys remember, in the second line of defense, we get to know the lymphocytes, right? Sorry, the phagocytes, the ones that destroy the bacteria. So in this one, we're also going to need them, okay, to eat the bacteria or the virus. However, we still need the help of two types of white blood cells. And those two types of white blood cells are T cells and B cells, called lymphocytes. Did you guys finish writing? So we can begin reading? No. Okay. I'll give you two. I'll give you one more minute. Omar, how are you doing with your group? Do you guys have already everything?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Did everybody work, Omar? Thank you. Who didn't work? I cannot listen.
Ileana.
Oh yeah, I already told Ileana. Yes, I already sent her an email that she gotta work alone. The same with Solang. Oh yeah, Ileana, you're there. Welcome to classes.
Estoy desde el principio de la clase.
You know, is it? I cannot see everybody. I need to, to move the cameras.
We need
Okay,
to copy.
Yeah, copy everything until no, until B cells.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's begin reading. 183.
Mister.
Sure. Read the first paragraph. Yeah, you're gonna read the second one.
How do you say that word?
Immune.
Immune response. If an infection from a pathogen is severe enough, it triggers the body's third line of defense, the immune response. The immune response is controlled by the immune system. The cells of the immune system has distinguished between different kinds of pathogens. They react to invaders with a defense target against a pathogen. The white blood cells that distinguish between different kinds of pathogens are called lymphocytes. Your body has two major kinds of lymphocytes, T cells and B cells.
Very good. Okay, so in this one, I want you guys to underline first paragraph where it says, the last line. they react to invaders with a defense targeted against that pathogen. And here we're talking about white blood cells, right? So this is a difference that I think you guys wrote in the Venn diagram between the first and second line of defense and the third line. In the second line of defense, we got white blood cells attacking any kind of pathogens. Now in here, in this type of defense, white blood cells are going to attack a special or target special pathogens. Okay, there's going to be individual targeting. Now,
May I read, Mister?
yeah, okay, we got two type of cells, right? The lymphocytes. One's going to be called T cells and B cells. Let's read and let's discover what the T cells do. But just give me a moment, okay? I need to connect my computer. Just give me a second, Camila. I'll need to go and find my charger.
Ese fue el mister.
Okay, thank you for waiting. Let's read, Camila.
T cells. A T cell is a lymphocyte that identifies pathogens and distinguishes one pathogen from another. Each kind of T cells recognize a different kind of pathogens. What T cells actually recognize are pathogens marker molecules, which are called antigens.
Okay, let's go to our notebooks and let's write T cells. And let's write the first function that they do. So the first function of a T cell is to identify or to distinguish pathogens.
May I continue reading?
Sure, continue.
Antigens are molecules that the immune system recognize either as a part of your body or as coming from outside your body.
Okay, I want guys to underline that part, okay? Antigens. Antigens are molecules that the immune system recognizes either as part of your body or is coming from outside your body. Okay, so I'm gonna do again one drawing of a T cell. So this is a T cell, okay? They are in here. They're very good guys. They're white blood cells. They keep us healthy. However, one day there is there is a pathogen in here, and pathogens have these markers, okay, or antigens. These kids are antigens on top of the pathogens. Now, what the T cells are gonna do is that they recognize the antigens, these things. Yeah, I'm sorry. So they're going to recognize this. They're going to say, these markers, these antigens do not belong to our body. So let's attack it. Okay, so the first step for them is to identify and distinguish what doesn't belong to the body. Let's continue reading. Camila.
Each different pathogen has its own antigen with its own chemical structure. Look at figure 4 to see how T cells function.
Thank you. Okay, so it says in there that every pathogen is going to have different markers or different antigens. So it means that not all pathogens are going to have markers like this. Okay, some of them might have triangles. Okay, just for an example. Okay, that I can draw. Or others are going to have other markers. So if you guys can remember, the T cells are going to attack specifically. They're going to create some responses specific to the kind of pathogen. Now let's go for the figure, okay? And let's see the step of how a T cell works. What is the step number 1 of a T cell? Sofia Rubio. It's at the bottom of the page. Just read the
Pathogens. Antigens.
Okay, a T cell recognizes a pathogen's antigen. Very good. So we have it in here. They identify. What's step number 2? After they have identified a pathogen that doesn't belong to our body.
Me, mister.
Yes, Pablo?
Christopher Said.
Christopher Said.
A T cell divides many times, producing more T cells that recognize the antigen.
Very good. So we have one T cell recognize one antigen that doesn't belong to our body. So it says, hey, I need more T cells so they can help me to control this thing. So they divide themselves. Now, what is step number 3 of a T cell? Now that they have divided, what's step number 3? Anybody can read it.
And T cells attract the cells damaged by the pathogen.
Very good. Okay, so let's go to our notebook and let's go to T cells again, to their functions. So another function that T cells have is they attack a damaged cells. They try to control the mess that the pathogen has done. And let's go for number 4. What is the function of a T cell? The last function.
Other T cells activate B cells.
Very good. So let's go back to T cell in our notebooks and let's write the last function, okay? T cells activate B cells. In the next page, we're going to know why we need B cells. Okay, kids, now let's go and write the definition for antigen. Antigen in our notebooks. So antigens are molecules that the immune system recognizes as either part of our body or coming from the outside world.
Mr.
Copy
Jeremy
that
estaba
in
en la
the
página.
What?
We copy that.
Yeah, please write it. You know, we learn when we write, Carolina.
But is that a...
Write it. Thank you. Thank you for showing me your notebook. Oh, you need another page. That's the last page. That's what you're telling me.
No, solo no quiero copiar más, mister.
No, write more. Okay, kids, so question time. Let's see. What are the names of the white blood cells that act in the immune response?
Lymphocytes.
Lymphocytes, very good. Lymphocytes. Now, how many types of lymphocytes do we have in the immune response?
2.
2, the T cell and the B cell. Very good. Now, which one is in charge of identifying the pathogens that do not belong to our body? The T cells. Very good. Very good. Now, after the T cell has recognized a pathogen, what does it do? What is step number 2? After it recognizes a pathogen.
Divides many times.
It
divides many times.
Very good. It divides in many times. Now, what is step number 3? What did they attack?
Some T cells attack the cells damaged by the pathogen.
Very good. They are going to attack the damaged cells. And what is the last step? What do they activate?
Mister, puede mover el mouse.
Recognize other T cells.
Activate B cells.
They activate B cells. We're going to see what B cells do for you too. Okay, now kids, let's go into page 183. There is a question. It says, describe on the right side of the page. What 2 roles does a T cell play after it divides? What role does it play after it divides? After it has...
Recognize a pathogen.
Damage cells.
No. Christopher, be careful. After it divides.
Attack the damaged cells.
And activate B cell.
Very good. Number 1, attack cells damage, as Valeria said, or I think it was Isabella. And number 2, activate B cells.
Espera, mister, voy a traer mi lápiz carbón.
Okay, go and get it, girl. Okay, now let's go for the next page, 184. Let's go and meet the next type of lymphocyte. We already talked about the T cell, okay? Now let's go for the second type of lymphocyte, the B cell. Maria Laura, can you read the paragraph, please?
Yes. B cells. The lymphocytes called B cells produce proteins that help destroy pathogens. These proteins are called antibodies. Each
Thank
kind
you.
of B cell
Okay, I want you guys to write the definition for a B cell, okay? In your notebook, it's right here on the screen. So B cells are going to produce proteins that kill the pathogens. And those proteins are called antibodies. We're gonna see that antibodies are specific to different kinds of pathogens. We're gonna need different antibodies for different pathogens. Let's see how they work, Maria Laura.
Each kind of B cells produces only one kind of antibody, and each kind of antibody has a different structure. Antigen and antibody molecules fit together like pieces of a puzzle.
Okay, can we underline
when
that?
antibodies bind to the
Can we underline it where it says each kind of B cell produces only one kind of antibody, and each kind of antibody has a different structure. Antigen and antibody molecules fit together like pieces of a puzzle. Okay, so I'm gonna give you kids another horrible drawing. So here we got a B cell, okay? In B cell, we have that they produce proteins called antibodies. So we're gonna do some antibodies in here. I'm gonna do this type of antibody. So they also have markers.
Mister, pero sale en el libro que es como un gancho, así como.
Yeah, but remember that we have different types. So this is a type of antibody because one type of pathogens in here, has antigens, okay? Remember the antigens, the markers? So the antigen for this one is gonna be like this, a triangle. So according to what Maria Laura says, pathogen has specific kind of antigens, and the B cells have a specific type of antibody that is going to feed, okay? It's gonna feed the antigen of the pathogen. They're gonna feel like puzzles, like pieces in a puzzle. That's what I mean. So for example, if we got a different type of antigen like this one, let's see, we got this type of antigen in a pathogen. What could be the type of antibody? Can you guys draw it on the screen? Can you guys draw it on the screen? This is a pathogen. Can you guys draw the antibodies of the B cell that are going to feed into this? A Y? I don't think a Y is gonna fit into this. See? Look at the form of this antigen.
No, it's like a square.
Yeah, it's a square. So I'm gonna need different type of antibodies. Very good. Who did this? Who did this one?
Me, mister.
Okay, that I don't know who made it.
Iliana, apaga tu micrófono.
Isabela.
Eliana, apaga el micrófono.
Iliana, apaga tu micrófono.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. I did it. So see,
I
kids.
did it.
Thank you, Isabela. So these are the antigens. Remember, antigens. So antibodies are gonna be produced by a B cell, and they're gonna be specific to the antigen. So they fit perfectly. They're gonna make them clump together because they're begging. Clump together so our friends, the phagocytes, can come in, eat them. Now let's continue reading, or we finished reading. We finished reading? Did we finish reading?
No.
Yes or no? No, okay, let's continue.
No, mister.
Maria Laura.
When antibodies bind to the antigens on a pathogen, they mark the pathogen for destruction. Some antibodies make pathogens clump together like those shown in figure 5. Others keep pathogens from attaching to the body cells they might harm. Still other antibodies make it easier for phagocytes to destroy the pathogens.
Very good, thank you, Maria Laura. So there we can see a B cell in action. Everybody look at the picture. So we got the B cell is producing antibodies specific that are going to feed into the antigens of the pathogen. They look like what? They look like circles, right? So they're going to fit together. So they make them clump together so the phagocyte can come in, eat them more easily. Now we're gonna go to the bottom of the page, 184. I want you guys to draw in there. It says, make models. In the box below, each B cell, draw an antigen that fits into the antibody on the B cell. So look at the form in the B cell number 1 that is on the left side. What is the form of the antigen that's gonna make fit?
Like
A circle.
Are you sure? In the left one? Like a square. Like a square. So you guys draw.
No.
Yeah.
Pensé que
So
era
you,
en la derecha.
yeah. So you guys draw a square-like antigen. You guys continue with the other two. What about in the pathogen that is in the middle, Carolina? What did you draw in that? So it binds together with the antibody. A triangle? Someone did a triangle? Yeah, it is a triangle. Thank you. What about, how could be the pathogen in the third picture?
A circle.
A circle, very good. So remember, kids, the antibody must be the same as the antigen. The antibody belongs to us, to the white blood cell, and the antigen belongs to the pathogen. Now let's go to, I think we can do 185 today. So we're finishing, you guys don't have homework. 185, it says, certain bacteria cause strep throat. Your T cells and B cells work together to combat the infection. Number 1, identify. Number each step in the immune response. And then number 2, sequence. Describe each step on the immune response against the bacteria that causes the strep throat. So you guys explain to me, we got 6 steps. So first, number these steps. What happens first? Let's see, where do we begin? From the bottom or from the top?
From the
top.
From the top, okay, so the first circle is obviously number 1, right? And so on.
Mister, pero ya está ordenado.
Yeah, I know, right? So you only have to write the numbers. Yeah. So it must look like 1, then 2 on the right, then 3 on the left or on the right.
Como el que tiene la florecita.
Yeah, that one, the one with the flowers. That's step number 3. That B cell is step number
4.
4. Then we got antibodies, step number 5, and then antigen number 6. Okay, now let's go to write the steps. In the lines on the left, right, step number 1. Explain to me what is happening in there. Look at it. There is an antigen.
T cells recognize
Very good. A T cell recognizes or identifies the bacteria. Now, you guys, as you guys do that, I'm going to check homework that we have. Okay, it is 5 points. So I need you guys to show me the Venn diagram, page 181. So I can give you the points right now.
Mister, si yo no la hice, pero se la puedo mandar por correo.
Yes, yeah, but today, okay?
Teacher, I'm going to send you to the email.
Okay, so I'm gonna call names. If you have it, show it to me by list, okay? Alexa Castillo is not here, right?
No es de esta clase.